Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back and we have news of Manchester United's first summer signing, or at least it's coming through from Fabrizio Romano that Tom Heaton will undergo his medical and sign as a new Manchester United player in the next few weeks. Deal is done and completed. Contract until June 2023. Option for one more season. Here we go. You know, when Fabrizio Romano gives a transfer rumour, the here we go, that it's done. It's going to happen. It is done, diddly done. And we have heard talk of this happening in the last couple of weeks. It come out of the blue. But we heard Tom Heaton was in talks to join Manchester United. Obviously, he's at Aston Villa. And he suffered a massive injury, which has meant he hasn't been able to play. But now, it looks like he's joining Manchester United, a club that he represented at academy level, but never ever got the opportunity to play for the first team. Now, I'll tell you why. He might never get the opportunity to play competitively for the first team now, in his older age and in this part of his career, as we look at Manchester United's goalkeeping options. But get your thoughts in the comments below on this news. Tom Heaton is looking like Manchester United's first summer signing. Now, for me, I'm not overly bothered by the news. And I'll tell you why. It looks like Sergio Romero is going to leave this summer. I think that's safe to say, right? Joe Pereira, who's been out on loan, had the odd loan here and there, who I rated as a young player, doesn't look like he's going to get an opportunity at United. His loan moves haven't gone to plan. It looks like he'll be leaving permanently. Lee Grant, it's been believed, will be moving into coaching, whether that's in a position at Manchester United or another club, we don't know yet. But Lee Grant is looking to possibly move on this summer as well. So you've got there three of your goalkeeping staff moving on. Lee Grant, Romero and Joe Pereira. Now Joe Pereira, you know, didn't play for United last season. Lee Grant and Sergio Romero, but you know, hardly an appearance between them. So you look at that and you think, right, if they're going and Tom Heaton's coming in, it's likely to be as third choice. Now, obviously, United have Dean Henderson and David de Gea. And there's also talk about both of those goalkeepers. There was talk that it was David de Gea's last game in that Europa League final for Manchester United, which would be a sad way to end his career at the club, missing a penalty in a shootout, and a decisive penalty at that. But there's talk about him potentially moving on. There's talk about Dean Henderson potentially moving on, if United plan to keep David de Gea as their #1 for next season. And Tom Heaton coming in, now he could wind up being our second choice goalkeeper, but I don't think he will. I think he will be third choice. And to those that are panicking or laughing at, or you know, thinking what the hell is this move all about, it's just like the Lee Grant move, I think. United making sure they've got options there if the shit did hit the fan and we did lose a couple of goalkeepers to injury, then we'd have a goalkeeper there. And Tom Heaton's had some massive performances for Burnley, so he's got the ability. Do you remember the game at Old Trafford? I think it was 1-1. Zlatan had about 10-15 opportunities and Tom Heaton just seemed to save everything. Now, we know goalkeepers love to come to Old Trafford and do that, but he's got the ability to pull off a performance. And if you're looking at a third choice goalkeeper or a goalkeeper that's sitting on your bench, I don't think it's the worst option to have, and I'd much rather that to Lee Grant, with all due respect. So Tom Heaton coming in, not an issue for me. The issue is, what do we do with De Gea and Dean Henderson? And I think if one of those does leave, I think we probably need another goalkeeper, especially if, as I've said, Sergio Romero does leave Manchester United. Now, if De Gea or Dean Henderson leaves, maybe you try and persuade Sergio Romero to still remain as your second goalkeeper. Although I'd imagine, especially what his family and his wife have been saying on socials over the last year, that he'll probably leave the club. And fair play to him, you know, when he's been available for us and we've used him, he's been fantastic at times, so you can't begrudge him a move. But if Dean Henderson or De Gea does leave, we need to replace them. And which one will leave, if either? I would love both to stay again. Imagine going into the season with De Gea, Dean Henderson and Tom Heaton as your goalkeepers. I don't think it's a bad choice to have at all. But we can't be not replacing one of them. Now, who leaves if either? Dean Henderson is the future. He's got great potential. But he has shown this year that he may not be quite ready to be Manchester United's #1. He's got the confidence, yes. As I said, he's got the ability, got the potential. But we've seen this year he's made a couple of mistakes. Now David de Gea, on the other hand, you know, we've seen his best years. His best years are probably behind him. Still has had good moments this season. He's had his bad moments as well. But I do think moving him on, like, it might be a personal decision for him. He's got a young family. He might want to move back to Spain. Cool. But moving him on for me could be a year too early, in my opinion. And bowing to the demands of a young goalkeeper, no matter who he is or what they are, and like potentially going into the season with them as number one, the first season with fans back, you know, the pressures of being Manchester United goalkeeper. You make a few mistakes, now you're number one. The pressure in the media, everything's going to build. If you're also England goalkeeper, we know what can happen there. So the potential for it going madly wrong in a season where it's vital for Manchester United to be at it, and vital for Manchester United to improve, is a bit of a risk. We want to be strengthening our team and making it so that we've got that right wing, defensive midfield, centre back, whatever position sorted out for next season, and then potentially shaking things up in defence. Is that going to help your defence be better as a unit? Probably not. And that's not to say I don't rate Dean Henderson, because I do. I think he's got the potential, and I think one day, you know, if it might be next season, but he will be Manchester United number one, and probably England number one too. Hopefully you don't get the Phil Jones treatment after what I said about him, but I think he will be that. But is it a year too early? And I think if De Gea did leave, I think you have to replace him with a serious goalkeeper now. You know, Donnarumma's potentially available on a free and all those kind of things. And this, you know, there's other goalkeepers out there. But I think if he does leave, we have to replace him with another goalkeeper. And that, I think going in with Dean Henderson and Tom Heaton, you know, if Dean Henderson's having a dodgy time or we need to take him out the firing line, then you got Tom, then you like, this ain't good enough. If he's our third goalkeeper, replacement for Lee Grant, Joe Pereira, cool. But we need to make sure we're not weakening our hand in goal next season. Excuse the pun, like we can't be. Because it's a massive season, and this summer, you know, there's talk about Sancho, there's talk about DMs, there's talk about centre-backs. You know, there's even talk about Harry Kane, but I mention that less because I don't believe it will happen. So there's all these things going on. To do that in goal would be madness, I think. So, big summer ahead. I'm not overly concerned by this Tom Heaton signing. I'm more concerned about what happens between De Gea and Dean Henderson. And if one of them leaves, not replacing them would be a problem. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. It's the first signing. I know some people are going to go mad about it. I don't think it means that much. But we've got to get it right with Dean Henderson and De Gea. Simple as that. Get your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. For now, I'm out of here.